Hey you! Don't you get tired of using your brain while playing this game? Don't you just want to turn off your brain while you play? Don't you just want to go apeshit? Well boy, do I have a deck for you. Introducing Numeron Eldlich. I feel like this deck has a lot of potential in the right hands, and while I don't own things like Forbidden Droplet or Triple Tactics talents, it is possible to succeed with this deck if you have a good amount of staple hand traps. I did go 4-0 with the deck, but even then I feel like there's a lot that could be improved upon. I don't know, I might just run pure Numeron soon or something similar. That being said, I won't keep you waiting, here's the profile. Alright, to start us off, I've got the Numeron Engine. 3 Numeron Wall. This card has 2 effects, with the first being more relevant. The first effect lets you discard it from your hand or tribute it from your field as a quick effect to activate Numeron Network from the deck. The second effect lets you summon it after taking damage from an attack, and after it summons itself, it ends the battle phase. The second effect really doesn't come up often at all, it's mainly the first effect that's good. Pretty much just a quick effect terraforming that's pretty nice. Then I have 3 Numeron Network. This is the field spell. It has 2 effects. First off, you can send a Numeron spell from your deck to the graveyard as cost to copy its effect. You send Numeron Calling from your deck to your grave for this, and Numeron Calling lets you summon out 4 Numeron Gate Xyz monsters with different names from your extra deck. After it resolves, you can only summon / set one more time. This is your primary win condition. The 4 Numeron Gates let you OTK your opponent very easily by doubling their attack stats over and over and over again. The other effect Network has is that your Numeron Gates do not have to detach Xyz materials for cost. Next, I have Memories of Hope. This card allows you to draw cards equal to the amount of number monsters you control with different names. This becomes a draw 4 when you have the 4 Numeron Gates on the field, which is extremely powerful. The only downside to this card is that when you see this in your hand without any Numeron Engine, it's terrible. But hey, it's a funny card, and when you resolve it, it's absolutely crazy. For 2-ofs, I played 2 Numeron Calling. I already explained what Calling did when I talked about Network, so you already know why it's so powerful. This deck loses hard to Macrocosmo types effects, so you really want to see this card in your opening hand for those type of scenarios. To round off the Numeron Engine, I have 1 Terraforming and 2 Planet Pathfinder. I opted to play 1 Terraforming and not 3 Pathfinder because I play Lava Golem in this list, so I really don't want to see Pathfinder and Lava Golem in my hand together. But Pathfinder is in fact another way to get to the field spell, so I still wanted to play it. For the Eldlich Engine, I have 2 Eldlich the Golden Lord, 2 Cursed Eldland, 3 Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine, 3 Conquistador of the Golden Land, and 2 Hawkero of the Golden Land. I only play 2 Eldland because I don't have a third, and I play 2 Hawkero to make more room for hand traps, as I think Hawkero is simply worse than Conquistador. For the hand trap lineup, I have 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Effect Veiler, 3 Lava Golem, 3 Droll, and 2 Nibiru the Primal Being. Nibiru really underperformed, and I actually really disliked it in this build, given that if I have a Nibiru on my side of the field, it locks me out of my Numeron plays. Lava Golems include for decks like Drytron that put up ridiculous boards. But, in all honesty, I never used it against Drytron's full board. I think the only thing I really did with it was tribute over Draconids and something else, I think a Moo Beta Fafnir. That does it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, I play 2 of every Numeron Gate. These cards all have the same effect, cannot be destroyed by battle. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, you can detach 1 material from this card for the cost, double the attack of all Numeron monsters you currently control until the end of this turn. So basically, when you summon the 4 gates out, the most common occurrence is your opponent controls a single monster that's around 3,000 or more attack. You swing the first one into it, trigger its effect, and boost them all up to 2,000. Then, swing the second one, trigger its effect, and then they're all 4,000. Swing the third, 8,000. So it's very easy to get these cards to high attack stats to OTK your opponent. I played 2 of each of the gates because if you play 2 Calling, you might as well play 2 sets. Sometimes when you summon them, you get interrupted in one way or another, and then live the following turn somehow. You'll need these for the clapback if you don't have anything else. These will steal games you have no right winning. I play 1 number C1 Chaos Gate Sunya. This was mainly for testing it out. I didn't even summon it once. It's an interesting card that you can overlay on top of Ecom, and when it's summoned, it banishes all monsters on the field. On your next standby phase, it comes back and burns your opponent for 1000 damage times the amount of banished Xyz monsters. So typically when you overlay it on top of Ecom, it banishes itself and the 3 other gates, so when it comes back on your next standby phase, it burns for 3000 damage. For the last Xyz monster, I have Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. It's a rank 10 Xyz monster, so typically you use 2 Eldlich the Golden Lord to make it. Its effect is, once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card as cost, inflict 2000 damage to your opponent. So, not only is this a good card in time if you have 2 Eldlich to spare, but if your opponent passes the turn to you while you have an Eldlich on field and 1 in graveyard, you can summon back the Eldlich from graveyard, swing for 25, and then 35, and then overlay for Gustav Max and use its effect for the exact game. This is honestly a pretty common occurrence in this deck, and I think you must play it in any Eldlich related deck. I also recommend playing Libe if you have it, but I simply don't. That card is good and I would play it if I owned it. On to the Link monsters, I have 1 Topologic Bomber Dragon, 1 Infinitrack Fortress Megaclops, 1 Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax, 1 Saryuja Skull Dread, and 1 Apollosa Bow of the Goddess. These are just generic Link 4s. If you're made to go first with the deck, some of these are required to not lose the following turn. You include these because after swinging with the gates, if you didn't kill, you can make one of these Link 4s for most given scenarios. Plus, they're also there for the turn 1 play. If you're forced to go first, you can make one of these for additional interruption in addition to any Eldlich traps or hand traps you have in your hand. Final thoughts on the deck. I feel like this is a very viable rogue choice and no one's expecting it right now, so not that many people know how to deal with it. Also, if you lose the die roll, most people go first anyways, which makes it all the better when you go second. That being said, the deck has its flaws, and I've had games where I didn't see a single hand trap at all. Sometimes you get unlucky with hands with this deck and it really hurts, but for the most part the deck's consistent. With that, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and share this deck profile with a friend. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya!